As previously, I am extremely moved to see this packed Beis Medrash. So I see our precious Talmidim, our Rosh Yeshivas and Ramim, and I have been made aware that we have many guests this morning, primarily from Ranana. So it's a pleasure to see all of you. And Chodesh Elul is a time to come together. Chodesh Elul is a time to come together in Beis HaMedrash. This is the place to be. So what is Elul all about? There are many ramazim about Elul. Echad la'oilo ve'echad lechatos. Aleph Lamed Vav Lamed. Et levavcha ve'et levav zaracha. Elul. But the most famous remez, well known to everyone, also brought in Mishnah Brura, is Ani ledodi v'dodi li. Rosh Tevis Elul. A fool might think, how did we get all these ramazim? Somebody was terribly bored, walked over to the bookshelf, pulled out a Tanakh Koren, and started reading from Bereshis till the end of Malachi. And whenever he found a posuk, a sequence of 4 words, Aleph, Lamed, Vav, Lamed, he underlined that psukim or highlighted the pasuk, and that is how we got all these ramazim. That would be foolish, because all these ramonim are found in Kidvei Ha'ari and some of them in Balaturim. Each of these ramazim conveys a profound message. So this morning I can't speak about all of them, but I think the most important of them all is Ani ledodi v'dodi li. And why do I think so? Elul is an introduction to the Yomim Neroim. Yomim Neroim kishmam kein heim. These are days of awe, days of fright. So in Eirech in Daf Yud Amud Beis, the Gemara says, Shalom Malachi Ashoreis says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the angels asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Lamo ein Yisrael oimrem halal b'Rosh Hashanah v'Yom HaKippurim. So my first comment is, the angels asked this question? What does it have to do with the angels? And how would the angels know? How would they care whether we say halal? Did they ask anything about the Shmoyne Esrei or about Berchas HaShachar or about Kiddush? Obviously. When we say halal, it is heard in all the heavens. When we say halal and thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Zeusei Roshem B'Shamayim, and the angels are well aware. So they wondered, why don't we say Halal Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? And HaKadosh Baruch Hu explains, Efshar, Melech Yoshev al Kisei Adin, Sifra Chaim v'Sifra Meisim Ptuchim Lefanav v'Yisrael Yoimru Halal. Is it possible the King of Kings sits in judgment and the book of life and death are open and they would say Halal? What I understand from this Gemara is, not that we don't need to say halal. We should, but we can't. We just can't. It's too frightening. And the Rambam quotes this Gemara Perek Gimel on Hilchas Chanik, and the Rambam writes, Lamu ein oimrem halal b'Rosh Hashanah v'Yom Kippurim. Why don't we say halal Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur? Mepnei she'ein elo yamim shel simcha yetera, because these are not days of great joy. They are days of fear. So the days of awe, by their very nature, strike a chord in our hearts, a chord of awe, of fear. But the pasuk ani ledoidi v'doidili, where is this pasuk written? Not in the prophecies of wrath of the Nevi'im, the great Nevi'im, Yeshayahu, Yirmiyahu, Yechezkel, Nevi'yei HaTochecha. This pasuk doesn't appear in Sefer Iyov, in the book of suffering. You all know where the pasuk is, ani ledoidi v'doidili. It's in Shir HaShirim. Shir HaShirim is not exactly the book of awe. Shir HaShirim is the ultimate book of love. Shir HaShirim is the love story between the Doid and the Raya, and the Rambam explains Perek Yud and Hilchos Shuvah. Shir HaShirim is all about Kadosh Baruch Hu loving us and we loving Him. And that's a moshel. And in this posuk, we find the remes for Chodesh Elul. Comes to teach us. Chodesh Elul is not a month of din. It is a month of rachamim. It is not a month of awe and fear. It's a month of love and kirvat Elokim. It is a gift that Kodesh Baruch Hu gave us, and a Kodesh Baruch Hu pleased with us. Kindalach, take advantage of this month of love. Don't wait for days of judgment. It'll be far tougher then. Do it now. Now is not a day of fear. Elul is not about Yirov Fachad. Elul is about Ahava and Chemro and Rachamim. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as a loving father, says, children, do it now. Come back to me now. Don't wait for the Yomim Neroim. Elul is Shir HaShirim. Elul is Ahava. Elul is Rachamim. Do it now. So Hasidim tell a story. And as you look at me, I'm a Chassid. Story about Rabbi Nagodel Mekarlin going back more than 200 years. It once transpired the first day of Rosh Hashanah. And in Minig Ashkenaz, the Baal Shachris cries out, HaMelech, even before he goes to the Amud. And as the Baal Shachris cried out, HaMelech, Rabbi Nagodel of Karlin fainted. After davening, the Hasidim asked him, why was he so moved? It was way before Nisan Toikaf. They didn't say, Mi Yichye v'mi Yamus. Just cried out, HaMelech. So what happened? The Kalina Rebbe explained, I suddenly remembered the Gemara in Gittin Daf Nun Vav. In the days before the Churban Abayis, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai wants to meet Aspasianus, the Roman commander. And finally, he gets to meet him. And Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai turns to the Roman and he says, Adoni HaMelech, your majesty, your king. And he says, I'm not a king. The king is sitting in Rome. I am a commander. But if I am a king, you deserve to be to the death. If I am a king, where were you till now? Where were you till now? So the Kalina Rebbe Rabban said, suddenly it dawned on me, if we cry out HaMelech, Kadosh Baruch Hu might ask, if I am the king, where were you till now? I've been waiting for you almost a year. Since Ne'ilah Tov Shin Pei Daled, I've been waiting for you. And now you cry out, HaMelech, Imalka Ano, as Aspasianus asked Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, where were you till now? And whenever I tell the story, I ask, so why don't we faint like he fainted? Obviously a stupid question. Because where are we and where was Rabbi Nagodel Mekarlin? He was a huge tzaddik. We are not. But maybe there's another reason we don't faint. Because in all our tefillos, we turn to HaKadosh Baruch Hu in dual language. Ovinu Malkeinu. Father, King. And we always put Avinu before Malkeinu. First, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a father, and then he's a king. And we do the same when we say, Im kebonim, im ka'avodim. First, we are children, and only then are we servants. So what is the difference between a father and a king? Between a son and a slave? Soldier leaves his base, just ran away. Military police are looking for him. Nowhere to be found. After a few months, he comes in his beautiful uniform, knocks on the door of the base. I decided to come back. First, he's thrown into a dungeon, into a cell. After 2 weeks, he will appear before a military tribunal. A son ran away from home. Father and mother are desperately looking for him. He's nowhere to be found. After 10 months, there's a knock on the door, 3 o'clock in the morning. Father and mother haven't been sleeping anyway for the past 10 months. They rush to the door, and there he is. The first response is always overwhelming joy and love. They fall into the arms of each other, and tears flow like water. And father and mother say, we cannot even tell you how happy we are. We didn't know whether we'll ever see you again. Coffee, tea. At some stage, that boy will need to explain, where were you? And why did you do this to us? How did you dare? What a chutzpah. But not right now. The first response will always be overwhelming love. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is a father. We are his children. And when we come back, and whenever we come back, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is happy. Yes, at some stage he will demand din v'cheshbon. Where were you? And how did you dare? But we come back and we cry out to Melech, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be happy to embrace us, so we don't faint. So Chodesh Elul is the Chodesh of Avinu. Chodesh Tishrei is the Chodesh of Malkeinu. Those are the days of awe. Those are the days in which we cannot say Hallel. Ein elu yomim shel simchi yasera yomim shel yira v'fachad. Now is the time. Elul is shira shirim. Elul is ani v'doidi v'doidi li. This posuk ani v'doidi v'doidi li appears in shira shirim in 2 different versions, 2 different variations. Perek Beis and I think Perek Vav. So Perek Beis, the posuk says, doidi li v'ani lo haro'eh b'shoshanim. Later in Perek Vav, the posuk says, ani ledodi v'doidi li haro'eh b'shoshanim. Same words, just the other way around. What is the difference between the 2 versions? Medrash Rabbah Parshas v'zois habrocha. The Medrash says, there is an eternal debate between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Knesset Yisrael. A debate between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We plea with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashivenu Hashem Elecha V'nashuva. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, bring us back, and we will repent. HaKadosh Baruch Hu insists, Shuvu Elai. V'ashuva elechem. Come back. You need to make the first step. And that is the difference between dodi lo v'ani lo. That is the way we would want it to be. Hashivenu Hashem alecho v'nashuva. And between ani ledodi and only then doidi li. That is shuvu elai v'ashuva elechem. I wish we wouldn't have Chodesh Elul. I would very much prefer Chodesh Dalul. Al Shem HaPosek Doidi Li V'ani Lo. Not the Posek Ani Le Doidi V'Doidi Li. But I checked all the old books and I found no other Nusach. Nowhere did I find Chodesh Dalul. There is no such a thing. All we have is Chodesh Elul. So obviously HaKadosh Baruch Hu insists. And he did not change his mind. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Kindalach, with all due love and respect, this is the way it's got to be. Ani ledoidi, and only then edoidi li. Shuvu elai, vashuva eleichem. So let me tell you another Hasidic Shamaisa about the Rab Shitzarav, Reb Naftali Tzvi. So the story goes, he was once riding in a horse-pulled cart in the middle of the Polish winter, and one of the wheels sunk into the mud. The Balagola huffs and puffs, pushes and pulls to no avail. He walks to the Rebbe's window, gently knocks on the window. The Rebbe opens the window, and the Balagola says, Rebbe, ich weiß, es passt nicht. I know it's totally inappropriate, but I'm trying, and the wheel just wouldn't budge. So, Toive Mashnayim Mino Echod. Maybe the Rebbe should come out and we'll push together, and maybe we'll get this out of the mud. So the Rebbe looks around. V'yifin koi v'choi v'yarki ein ish. You know, it is inappropriate. The Rebbe should try to push the cart out of the mud. And both together, push and pull, and still doesn't budge. So the Rebbe lifts his eyes to the heavens and says, Rabbeinu Shalom, I firmly believe in Hashgacha Pratis, in divine providence. And I know you got me stuck in the mud because you want me to do tshuva. But it's hard to do tshuva when it's raining and you're wet and you're sinking the mud up to your knees. Bring me home, and I promise to do tshuva. And the Hasidim knew that the Rebbe, the Rab Shitzarav, wasn't just talking about his own trial in that Polish morning. He was talking about Klal Yisrael. Rabbeinu Shalom, we know we're stuck in the mud because you want us to do tshuva, but aren't you aware it's not working? We're stuck in the mud for 2,000 years, and we're still here. So we plead with the Kodesh Baruch Hu, bring us home. Hashivenu Hashem elecha v'nashuva. But that story happened 200 years ago, and we're still stuck in the mud. So obviously, it's not Dalul, it's Elul. And this is the way it's got to be. First, Anile Dodi, and then Doidili. And that is why HaKadosh Baruch Hu B'roiv Rachamim V'chasodim gave us Chodesh Elul. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, don't wait for the days of judgment. Come back now. The gates are open. Our Father is waiting for us. And as fathers wait for children, He's going to be embracing and happy and loving whenever we come back. And now is the time. So Chodesh Elul is Kol Kuloi Rachamim. Yes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu insists, you need to make the first step. Shuvu Elai. But he doesn't demand too much. Are you all familiar with the Ma'amar Chazal? Pischuli Pesach Kechudoi Shal Machat Va'ani Va'ani Efter Pesach Kepischei Shel Ulam. That is nowhere to be found in Chazal. There is no such Ma'amar Chazal. It is found in many important sources. One of them is Tfilas Tashlich. We find it in Sifrei Musa. It's not a Ma'amar Chazal. People get confused with a different Ma'amar Chazal. Libam shel Rishonim kepischoi shel Ulam, libam shel Achronim kepischoi shel Heichal. But what Chazal do say is far more heartwarming and far more encouraging. Pischoi Pesach kepischoi shel Machat, v'ani eftach lochem psochim, not one but many. אני אפתח לכם פסוחים, שיהיו עגלות וקרונות עוברים בהם. You just open one little door in the depth of your heart, and I will open many, many gates. שיהיו עגלות וקרונות עוברים בהם. And whenever I quote Chazal, I say, these wagons that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will have going through the gates are not empty wagons. Kodesh Baruch Hu doesn't deal with empty wagons. These Agoras Akronis will be full. They will be jam-packed with Bonei, Chayim, Mezoyne Ravicha, Bariyas Gufa Venahora Ma'alya. Those wagons will be full of Shefa, of wealth, of health, of nachas from your children. It is all dependent on that one Pesach Kechudei Shel Machat. And this is our call. This is our call in Chodesh Elul. So what do we actually need to do? We are a generation that loves Zgulas. To my dismay, the stranger, the weirder, the more esoteric these Gulas are, they have somewhat more appeal to us. And I don't know why. So people will go by the Neitzach Hama to the Koisel and wait for the lizards to come out between the rocks, and then they're going to say Shira Shiram. And I actually don't know whether there is such a Gula, but probably there is. Because we love strange Gulas. But the most powerful Zgulas are the ones that we find in Chazal. And why do we need to look elsewhere? Tshuva, Tefillah, Utzedakah. Ma'aviren es roa hagzer. Daven. Do chesed. Do tshuva as best you can. Those are the Zgulas. Another one, Rosh Hashanah Yud Zayin, and a Masechet Sanhedrin as well. Hamavir al midotav mavirim lo al kol pshoav. When you are forgiving, Kadosh Baruch Hu will forgive you. These are divrei Chazal. These are rock solid. These are the Zgulas that Chazal teach us. Don't look elsewhere. So when we are forgiving, Kadosh Baruch Hu forgives us, midah keneged midah. Hamerachem al habriot, merachamim olav min hashamayim. That is in Shabbos Kuf Nun Gimel. So this is the way we need to conduct our affairs in Chodesh Elul. Do tshuva, learn Musa. Daven more than you daven any other time of the year. Add on a few kapitlach in Tehillim. Give more tzedukah than you would in other times of the year. Be forgiving. How could a person be angry with others in Chodesh Elul? You're destroying your own future. Hamavir al midotav. When a person forgives others, HaKadosh Baruch Hu mavir al kol avonotav. Could it get greater than that? Could it be better than that? So in Chodesh Elul, we need to be forgiving and embracing. We need to try to help each other. We need to feel the pain of others and have compassion. Amerachem al habriot, merachamim alav min hashamayim. So my bracha is all of you, to all of you, our wonderful Talmidim in the yeshiva, and to everyone present. These are the ways, and these are the Zgulas to achieve Rachamei Shamayim. We desperately need rachamim. Mi iske lefonecha bedin. So we need to try to go from the king to the Father. And the way to reach the Father is the way Chazal recommend. Elul, don't wait for Tisha. Take advantage of this month of glory, of this month of love. Take advantage of Shira Shirim. Ani ledodi v'dodi li. Tshuva, tefillah, u'tzedakah. Rachamim and forgiveness. Those are the greatest goods. We should all be zeicha together with Kol Beis Yisrael to Hoshana Tova u'Mesuka. I was here a few months ago, and I spoke about this difficult period in Eretz Yisrael. And to my dismay, we're still in the mud. And this war still is not over. And every day, almost every day, we are losing people. Young soldiers, civilians, terror, and we need a lot of rachamei shamayim. So we all need to daven and hope and pray. Tichel shona v'kira lo yiseo, tochel shona v'birch yiseo. We should be zeicha together with Kol Beis Yisrael to Hoshana Tova u'Mesuka to Aksiva v'Chasim Tova b'Sifrim Shel Tzadikim Gemurim. And halavai, we should hear b'Korah b'Yameinu not only the shofar of Rosh Hashanah, but also Kinsoineis Horim Tir'u Ucheskoye Shofar Tishma'u. We should hear Kol Shofar Shel Moshiach Tzidkeinu B'mheru V'yomeinu. Amen.
Thank you for listening to this Ohr Somayach production. To find out more and to partner in our mission, please visit ohr.edu.